Good morning, folks, folkettes, and everything in between and beyond. My name is Roy, the host of Happiness, the only host in the history of the internet. I will still say it for the second consecutive full season, who fully and wholeheartedly admits that he has no idea what he's talking about. However, this is a cover-up. Well, a cover-up of my teeth. But indeed, we are in the middle of something that's likely going to be lengthy, which is the fact that it's increasingly as Barry, what's his name? Barry Whitman. I forgot his name. No, seriously, I can't believe that I'm having mornings like that. I get up. I know I'm going to record this video. Everything is clean. But Barry Jackson, I don't know. It's increasingly inevitable to reach the conclusion that both the NBA and the Hornets as well, they knew everything that they had to know so as to, not allow us to have gotten into the situation that we've gotten with Terry. It seemed, and I don't doubt that. I mean, we're not under investigation. We're not one of the teams under investigation, but I don't doubt that they're going to look at certain things that happened with us, with Terry, and kind of go, okay, that's not how Terry used to play, and it didn't have an injury, and apparently the NBA was aware of the NBA kind of forced that situation up for him not to play that last stretch that he had in the Hornets. But I'm not going to talk about that right now because it doesn't really matter. We're playing amazingly well to start the season, and that has been a while that I don't say this out loud to anyone. I think last time I said this out loud was with Lowry. That's when we started the season sensationally. We had a mediocre season before that, and we got to the bubble prior to that. So we definitely, got to the finals of the bubble before that. But before the interruption of the NBA, we also had an amazing start of the season. However, at that time, we had what I consider to be a superstar, in that second or third man in the Golden State Warriors, and I'm not going to say his name. And at the end of the day, we have questions, and those questions also need to be answered. But that's now it's easy to scapegoat the NBA and betting for that, because once I scapegoat the NBA and betting for that, we kind of take away the responsibility that the front office had. But the truth is this, okay? Normal Powell was the missing piece we never got. And it's going to be very interesting seeing Normal Powell and Hero play. I see some of the people kind of buzzing, saying that Normal Powell is the one that's going to come as a sixth man. I doubt it very much so. I think that Wiggins is the one that's going to come as a sixth man. Wiggins is the one that's going to lose minutes as well when Hero comes back. Hero himself is going to probably have to kind of regain conditioning before he comes, fully back up to the rotation. Although maybe, that's not the case. And as we said before, the preseason rarely coincides with what the season is going to be. Sometimes, yes. I think that, again, the last one that happened when the preseason was as good as the season, the beginner, and that we actually made it to a very good, we were first seed in the East and only second to the Warriors themselves, and lost to the Celtics in Game 7. It was the time that when we acquired Lowry. There are, of course, it's just very fortunate for us as Heat fans, and this is the only voice that I use, the voice of a Heat fan, to see a few things happening. Even though we still have some issues, and which team doesn't? Yesterday we played against, well, until now, right, the second best defense in the NBA, the Knicks, a team that was undefeated. That doesn't mean anything in a sample of 3 games. But we are 2-1. They are 2-1. They start the season amazingly well. We also start the season amazingly well. We scored over 121 game. We won this game by 8. We scored over 140 in the past game. So again, getting to the point in which our offense is finally able to work with what our defense gives us. And we do have some times in which our defense puts us in trouble. We do have some times in which we have, way too many unforced turnovers. I think it's wanting to execute a particular kind of vision from the coach. But the idea that the Miami Heat could not play well as a fast-paced team is completely debunked against the Memphis, against Orlando. Not so much against the Knicks. The Knicks were able to slow us down, and yet, as we battled and they battled, the difference between what happened last season and every single game throughout the season, with the exception of a couple of those, is that we actually, in every single game we played, even again in the loss against Orlando, we actually managed to score enough and pull out. Against Magic, again, like I said, a couple of bad possessions, couple cost us the game because we were up in sufficiently enough time to guard our lead. However, we failed. And the same thing can be happening right now, can be said right now about yesterday. We didn't fail. We succeeded. We held up that lead. We had Davion Mitchell, who got us a 3 when they went back to 7. We had people score. We had Bam extremely aggressive both of the times. And sometimes he succeeds in the execution, sometimes he doesn't. But when you have Bam engaged like that, it's always going to be good news for the Miami Heat. When you have Powell or any other team or any other player hitting the shots that they're hitting, because at the end of the day, we see that Powell got 29 points, but we see that other players also were able to get pretty decent pointage, including Bam, and were able to help us. We're able to get some interesting. Again, Mitchell being a very good defender is still, has the issues with fouls. But I think that we caused more foul trouble, that were in foul trouble against the Knicks. We didn't even acknowledge the existence of the Memphis. That was a game that was completely won by the second half. By the second quarter, before the second half even began. And then in a run that they were able to get us below, I guess, the 20 mark or something of the sorts, we went back up 40 toward the end of the third quarter. So we're still turning the ball over a little bit too much. But imagine that. What we expected of Jaques is actually coming to fruition in 3 games. It's very small sample size, but still, we can work with that. We can work with that because we can see that the team started with a different philosophy and with the capacity and having players who want to execute. Imagine that right now we have as point guards Davion Mitchell primarily, and then Drew Smith coming off the bench as primary ball handlers, as opposed to having Terry Rozier, who all of us, including myself, thought was going to be an upgrade over Lowry, and then ended up not being an upgrade. I doubt that Terry Rozier is innocent. I don't know what's happening right now. It definitely seems like some sort of a distraction, also with the government taking aim at the NBA. But again, Adam Silver did open the NBA to betting and to all those kinds of things. That's why I'm not. After listening to actually a Brazilian podcaster called Felca, I am not. And nobody ever paid me for that, by the way. And I never got a single penny from anyone. But I'm not advertising Price Picks anymore. Not only I don't play those as I announced before in the past, I am not also advertising that anymore. I don't think that that's a healthy thing to do. But it's definitely unhealthy for sports when players get involved. You can't say that when you open the door for betting, that's the main issue. The main issue is people lose a lot of money. People that need money lose a lot of money. I am smart enough not to have that kind of addiction, but still. In any case, Jaime playing exactly what we want, how we wanted him to play. I think Ware needs to improve in his consistency when it comes to energy, on both ends of the floor, but especially as a defender. He needs to constantly and always rebound almost as well as Bam. He has the size for it, so we shouldn't be giving away so many offensive rebounds. That's another issue. But yesterday, everything seemed so balanced that the only part that really stood out for us was the fact that if we, had we not had so many turnovers, I think we would have also been able to kind of run away with the game in the beginning of the second half. But we turned the ball over too much, excuse me, in the first half. Not as much in the second half, or especially not as much in the third quarter, but too much in the first half. That's it. That's the only criticism that I have. I'm very happy with this team. I'm proud to be able to watch it because it's fun to watch it. It's a team that plays with cohesion. It's a team that plays with purpose. It's 2 consecutive wins that, if after the first one, I was thinking, okay, the Grizzlies did really badly, really poorly, because all of us did super well. Record first half points, record first half for Bam as well, both in terms of how many threes he got, tied his career high in threes made. And then I thought the second game cannot possibly be like that. But then you look at the stat sheet and you see, wait, there's like 4-5 players in the double digits, a couple double-doubles, if I'm not mistaken, or at least a very, very high stat sheet for a couple players there. But Norman Powell, of course, being our scoring powerhouse, we needed that. We got it. Now we have that with Hero, an all-star, a reigning all-star Hero. I am definitely interested to see what's going to happen. And I'm not holding my breath to get any benefits right now from Terry. Hopefully, we do get that benefit in the form of a pick returned at the very least. That's it. That's pretty much it. Stay safe, stay dry, stay as happy as possible. It's a very complicated world of ours. Let's go Heat. I'm covering up. I'm being covered up.